live stream where you can submit your images and I edit them here live for you. Ideally, you submit the images before the stream starts, but sometimes if I still have some time, I can edit images that are submitted during the stream. Just let me know in the chat section and I can take a look. But as always, I'll be using DxO Photolab 8. My favorite photo editor of choice. There's, of course, affiliate links down below if you want to give it a try for yourself. But a lot of things I do here can be done in any photo editing software. It's just ultimately the final output quality. That is the difference between a lot of these photo editors. And I found DxO to do the best job at that. It's the final output. That said, I am going to try some other photo editing software. Let's shoot for maybe next week to try Luminar. I've been playing with it over the last couple of weeks, trying to get a feel for how to edit using that. I've always had a mental block with Luminar because the workflow is so different. But definitely let's target next week for those of you that are kind of regular here. You've been asking me to try different photo editors, so I thought I'd give that a shot. Okay, so let's get right into it. I got about 10 images in to edit today. So I'm going to rearrange my windows real quick. And I see Jeff is here, Paul is here. Good to see you guys. Thank you. And I thought I saw a note or something about Brandon joining and becoming a member to support the work that I do here. That's greatly appreciated. If you do enjoy my photo editing live streams, you know, the best way to support and keep this going really is to become a member. It's just 99 cents, but it's optional. You can always buy me a coffee or just make a donation. But either way, I do this for the benefit of the photography community, and I enjoy it too. So, okay, Steve, good morning. Okay, I have my windows up. I just need to change the screen resolution so it's a little bigger. And then I think we'll be good to go. Somehow that doesn't look bigger. Let me try something else. $25, $60, $14, $40. Let's try that. Ooh, that's really big. But maybe that's okay. So this is what it looks like. Let me turn off this chat window. So hopefully the sliders and things are easier to see. I just have a little less surface area here to work with, or a smaller canvas to work with. Okay, we're going to start here with William, and I noticed here, this one here from Serge, do you need to resubmit it? For whatever reason, I got an upload error and I'm not going to be able to edit the photo that you submitted. So if you want to resubmit that during the stream, I'll take a look and see if we can get to it today. All right, so we have a seascape here. Let's apply basic optical and denoising corrections. And then I like to think about the composition next. And I think 16 by 9 would look good on this. Maybe even wider. Let's try 16 by 7. This is the old panoramic. And then I divide the scene into thirds. So we have our foreground in the bottom third, our subject here in the middle, maybe something like that. And then, the background in the top. It's not really a background, it's just sky. But so that's why I always have a problem, excuse me, when there's a lot of empty space or negative space. I have to think about, can I use that negative space or is it a distraction from the main subject? Ironically, negative space can be distracting, in my opinion. Okay, so we have this, and let me give some thought here. I'm trying to think, because it's very monochromatic, except for a little bit of red here and a tiny bit of yellow. So maybe let me just go to monochromatic. I think I like the mono better, because there's not a lot of tones here to begin with, really. I mean, this tiny bit blue, yellow, red, but they're all very, very muted anyway. But if I let me just see what it looks like if I saturate it some. Okay, compositionally, the colors really change how I might compose this image. Meaning I'd almost like a more vertical. We just did a square. Not quite. I'm just brainstorming here. No. I think I'll go with my original thought here with the monochrome. And maybe split tone it later. Okay. So that works. And I think I'll stay low contrast. A lot of times when I do black and whites, I do these very high contrast images. That's not bad. We can silhouette this entire area here. Push the, maybe a high contrast will work. Okay, that's one way to go. Let me just make a virtual copy, and I want to try a low contrast version. It's a very, very different feel here. Yeah, this is a bit too strong. It's certainly more dramatic because of the giant waves. I think this version is a little more appropriate for the scene. But aesthetically, I kind of like this softer version. Sorry, I'm just thinking. Maybe just a tiny bit of contrast here, just to bring the drama back. I can do that with just clear view probably. I think I'll go with that. I mean, as you can see, the very high contrast version, I could keep working on this, but it's going in a direction that just feels kind of, I don't know, normal. And by normal, I mean kind of boring. Like we've seen high contrast black and white pictures a lot, at least in my streams, right? So I feel like this works a little better. Uh, I'm just kind of I'm just feeling like a low contrast face. So let's compare that with the original. So yeah, comparing these side by side, yeah, this is too much empty space. I think this wider frame 16 by 7 would make a really nice print. And then uh, just adding a little bit of contrast right here, but otherwise lowering the contrast everywhere else really draws attention to the most interesting thing in the scene. I mean, the ships are interesting and the whatever this is, this dock or bay, marina. But really, this is the most interesting thing. So that's where I'm going to put most of the contrast and possibly amp that up even a little more. Let's do a little micro contrast. And then let's just drop the contrast a little bit more here. Okay, so that's my final version. I think that works pretty well. Okay, have one here from William. Oh, a nice long exposure. Let's see, this is probably probably about a 30-second exposure. Exactly 30 seconds. Of course, high ISO, but yeah, that makes sense. Um, okay, so with astral Milky Way shots, it's always challenging because the tones in between are in the sky. Let me just do a quick optical corrections. The differences here are very, very subtle. So a lot of times you have to do local adjustments to separate these tones. And then we have this really interesting shadow here on the front of this tree. I like this tree shadow. um, okay, so let's see what we can do. Compositionally, I think we're okay. It's just a tiny bit. I mean, the aspect ratio definitely is, I'm sorry, the skewing here, perspective distortion is definitely pretty heavy. Let me see if I can fix that just a little bit without making it too unnatural. Yeah, something like that. Let me back it off just a little bit. Oops, where's my auto crop? Let's do auto. Okay. Oh, let's try that. And as opposed to what? It's not a lot of difference really. But just enough. I hate crooked lines personally, so this is a very subjective choice. Okay, now let me see if I can separate this sky just a bit. And let me check the white balance. We're at 50. Let's lock that into daylight. Yeah, that's a little better. Because, there's a lot of artificial lighting here that can trip up the auto white balance. So I'm just going to fix it to standard daylight, which is what you normally do for astro type shots. And I'm going to, let's see what Clearview does. That Clearview does a lot all on its own. So I think what I'll do, yeah, that works. And then let's do a local adjustment, maybe with the colors. Here's my color wheel. Here we go. It just picks sort of this purplish blue color. And see if I can just bring the luminance of that down. Maybe spread that a bit. Okay. And then what color do I have in here? It's kind of a gray, really. But we'll leave that alone. I'm going to have to do that with some control points. So let's do a little here, up here, some in here, a little one right there. And let's bring in the blacks. Okay, getting there. Right about there. Maybe a little more clear. No, let's not do clear view here. A micro contrast to bring out the stars. Okay. If I pull it even more. Okay. Now let's do a little bit of extra saturation down here. Like that. And let's push the highlights just a bit. Okay. Maybe the same thing here. All right. And then let me do a very small control point in the center here. I might have to, let me start a new one. Let me do a separate one. Right in here. We're going to tighten up the luminosity. Here and here. And there. And just bring it in. Okay. Good. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. And then let's do some for the grayish areas. Tighten up that luma mask. Let me go in here. Okay. And let's push the midtones here. and the highlights. And then the color. Okay. And this might have went a little bit too dark here. This one. It's this one that's kind of throwing me off a little bit. Okay, let's see. Not bad. All right. Now, one more thing. I'd like to see if I can do a little bit with these windows. If there's anything in here. Yeah, there's a little bit in there. So let's bring out the window a little bit. And we'll tighten up the Luma mask. Here. Let's see. There. That needs its own. That's a bit too strong. There's a door here and a door here. Okay, let's start a new one. This one's a bit too strong too. I'd like to get the door. Just give it a little more pop. Okay, I think I'm just about done. Let me just pull the highlights here just a little bit. And then just do a global push to brighten a tiny bit. All right, let me export that. Oh, sorry. Let me put it back in the same folder, and there we go. Okay, so let's see how that came out. Ah, feels a bit too strong. The highlights here. Uh, let me fix that real quick. Which one was it? This? No, it was these. Let's just back that off a bit. And then just going to desaturate the reds a tiny bit. Well, let's just do global vibrance maybe. There we go. Okay, I'm going to export this one. Hold on. Why does it keep doing that? Give me a second here. This one, reference, this one. Okay, now we're good. So here's the before image, here's the after. I can expand that a little bit. But to me, the perspective distortion was a little bit too strong, so that's kind of the first thing I did. I always like to look at the composition first. And then with these sort of Milky Way shots, they are very difficult to separate sometimes. So that's why I had to do mostly local adjustments. And then, of course, with any architecture, I always like to bring out the windows and doors of the building in a natural way as possible. I could get carried away and make it look like there's actually lights on inside the building, but I didn't want to do that, sort of a day to night type photo. So, but I think this works just the way it is. Interesting the sky is so purple though, because I did set the white balance. I mean, I could tweak this purplish color a little bit more blue. I think that's the only thing I would change if I kept working on this. But yeah, overall, I think that came out pretty good. Okay, let's do the next one. Thank you, Bert, for sending that one. And the purple is Aurora. Oh, okay. I have no idea. So the purple is correct, right? Is the accurate color for that scene, I guess? I'm not used to that. This thing. Interesting. I mean, I like to do deep sky astrophotography time to time, but Milky Ways, I'm really bad at. All right. Oh, I'm sorry, William. Sorry. This was Williams. When I hover my mouse, it sometimes I see the wrong one. So thank you, William, for sending that one. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so this one's from Bert. Um, let's just do a quick uh, optical correction edit here, and then maybe 4x3 is fine. I just need to come in a bit tighter. I kind of like the background grass though. Let me do it this way. I like the sort of softness I'm getting up here. And from here, it's pretty well exposed. We just need to with wildlife or people, anything that has eyes, I always try to brighten the eyes and the area around the eye. So let's push the highlights more because I don't think the eyes have any color really. So just going to push the highlights and the exposure a bit, and then clear view to make them a little glassy with some micro contrast. Okay. That's good. Um, Now we have really soft lighting here. I'm going to see if I can make it a little bit more dramatic. So I'm going to bring light in from the left side, very gradual way this way. And let's just do a brightening. Let's tighten up the Luma mask. Let me see. I put the eyedropper sort of on this brighter area. Okay. And then let's add a little warmth to that to kind of mimic sunlight. Okay. I'm going to tighten up the Luma mask again. There we go. Just a touch. And then there, and a little more warmth. Okay. And we'll do the same thing for the deer. If I do it with the gradient, then I'm going to use just the highlighted areas here. Let me find a brighter. I tighten up the chroma and the Luma. Okay, that's a good spot. Let's back that in. I don't want the grass to get too affected. There we go. Let's push the midtones. The shadows a bit. Maybe a global linear brightening. Too much. Okay. And then we'll do a couple of touches in the grass here. Whoops. Expand this out. Make it a little bit tighter on the Luma. There we go there. That looks good. Yeah, right about there. Spread that a bit. Maybe some there. Okay. need a little, whoops, I'm sorry. Let's do a little bit here. Here. Okay. Just actually needs just a slight tilt and then we'll call it. How about there? Then I'm going to pull just a tenth. Let's come back a little bit here. Okay. Let me export that one and see what we get. Set as a reference, reset it. Okay, so the original image, yeah, it's just a lot of, again, kind of very similar to that seascape or marina that we just did with the ship and the waves over here. It's just a lot of empty space here that wasn't helping me. So, and it's, it's very flat. So over here, I increase the contrast. It really needs a little bit of a little bit more warming. But I think, and if we zoom in, you can, maybe this will help show you the appreciable difference of processing it. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about DxO's final output. I think it just does the best job. And but as far as editing goes, yeah, just cropping in and separating the light a little bit more, because I could see a little bit of highlights up here, and this clearly is shadowy area. So I wanted to just maximize that. All right, let's see. Let's go to the next one. This one is from Jan. And apply basic preset. And I'm just going to brighten the image just to see what's in here. Okay, so we've got an interesting sky, couple of stars, and a clock here. All right, so let me do an optical correction first. I'm sorry, perspective correction. And let's see, we lost the top up here. Man, that's right on the edge though, isn't it? There is no saving that if I do any optical corrections. I would have to, yeah, that's too tight. So whenever you do architectural type photos, always leave extra room around the structure so that you can do perspective corrections later. Otherwise, you kind of run into the problem I'm having here is like, if I want to straighten the lines a little bit, it's really hard to keep what's going on up there without, some heavy cropping. And what I would have to do is take it into Photoshop and do some AI to fill in the blanks, right? So Let's see. If I can if I can create a composition without needing the top. I know I'm obsessed with straight lines, but I think I found something here. So what I'm going to do is create a diagonal between the clock and the stairs. This is going to be my point of subject right here. Then I have a diagonal right here, kind of. Let's see. Let's do something about like that. Maybe just, I'm going to back off this correction. Actually, it needs a little more. Let me see. Down, no, this way. See where that puts me. Okay, this light is really strong over here too. I see a car is coming, that's why. All right, so that's that. All right, let me get rid of this light correction. And we're going to brighten up that clock. That almost looks unnatural. Okay, there's that. Guess we can tighten that up a bit. I'm going to work on this area here. Okay. I want this whole area to be a little bit brighter. And I'm going to try and minimize the highlights over here. Yeah, there's no fixing that, but okay. And let's cool that off a tiny bit. That. Let's do just a global white balance fix here. Where is it? Okay. Pull that in. All right, that's better. Okay, let's do a couple of window enhancements. I guess those aren't windows, those are just openings for the bell. That's a window. And I'm going to get rid of this spot here if I can. If not, I'll brush it out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to brush that out. So we'll use a healing brush. Let's try repair. Okay. That's fine. Okay, what am I missing here? Oh, the sky. Yeah, there's the sky up here too. So let's do that because we only need to go that far. Tighten up the Luma mask again. And just do that. Okay, so I might not need these anymore. Let's see. I need this one. Let's tighten up the chroma mask too. Not too much, just a hair. Then we'll push. Let's fix the white balance a little bit. Okay. Starting to get a little bit of haloing here. So I need to just see what I did to cause that. Is it the clear view? No, it's not the clear view. Okay. All right. This is something I need to get better at, and that's making corrections. I only want it in these greens. Okay. Maybe just bring that down a bit. A bit tighter chroma mask. Okay. Let me just do a quick export. Well, if I use the loop tool, I can get a feel for. Oh. Okay, that's looking good. It's a little bit unnatural here and here. Okay. But I think we're okay. Let me just check one more thing. All right. Maybe what I can do is on this control line, Just back this off a bit. See if that gave me the effect I wanted. Yeah, that's better. That looks more natural. I was just getting a tiny, like a couple of pixels of haloing right along this edge. So I was just trying to minimize that, and it's kind of a random process, you know, working with clear view and micro contrast to kind of get it right. So now I can export this. I think I'm done. Oops. Compare it to reset. The haloing is, I don't know why the haloing is there. I thought I fixed that. Here you can see it. I don't know why when I was pixel peeping in the edit, it was, let me go back. It's got to be something in this control line. It's not that one. Could be I was just trying to do too much. Okay, let me make a new control point. I'm just going to give a slight push here. Okay. We'll come in a bit tighter. Let me try that. Using that as a reference. Okay. All right, that's a little better. I'd have to work on it a little more. But yeah, I'm just getting this very slight halo line on the left side. I would have to crop in a tiny bit. I need to crop in just a couple of pixels to get rid of this, and this. But other than that, I think that's pretty much where I would go with this image. Basically putting a lot more light here on the stairs, because this effectively is the entrance to the property, right? So again, with architecture and you know, buildings, I always like to capture the entrance to the building, so the front door typically. But since we can't see it here, uh, I wanted to amplify or emphasize the entrance of the stairs here. And then a huge white balance correction because of all the tungsten lighting we're getting. And that's it. And a crop. There was no way of saving this steeple up here. So just cropping it out altogether. I should have cropped in just a hair tighter right here. But other than that, I think that's where I would go with this edit. Okay. Let's go to the next one here. So that was from Jan. Thank you, Jan. Hopefully you like that edit. And we have another landscape here. What the heck is this thing? Some kind of monument. Maybe it's a tombstone. But it's huge, whatever it is, because look at the fence line here. Wow, okay. My gosh, that's a huge tombstone or whatever it is. So what I need to try to do, let's do a basic optical correction first and give this a little more light. I don't think, I don't know if I can make this. I don't think I can make this image about this monument, unfortunately, even though it's like right here in the center. It's just so far away that it's, yeah, we just got no sense of scale. I mean, I didn't know how big this was until I zoomed in and saw the fence line around it. And then when I take it in the context of everything else here, uh, yeah, that thing is huge. So it's kind of an anomaly. I bet those are doors right there, or that's the door. Oh my goodness, that thing is huge. All right. I see some good lighting coming in here from the right. Excuse me, I had to sneeze there for a second. Let me download the optical corrections. Did you get a new lens, John? Because I haven't downloaded this optics module before. We'll let that load in. Come on. We can do it. Let's load. Maybe I got too many things open on my computer. Let's see. I don't need that. I need those three, so nope. Usually these things load in pretty quickly. I don't know why it's taking a little extra time right now. But let's see. I see Eric came in, Intrigue, good to see you. And I see Pucho, good to see you. Oh, you actually have a question. What is chroma and luma? Chroma is color, right? So if you think about the derivative of monochrome, mono means one, chrome means color. So you got one color, so that's monochrome. So chroma is just means color. So what we're trying to do is mask out by color. So if I select a specific color, I can say, you know, only mask this particular color or only change this one color. So that's what I do with the chroma masking. Luma, you know, if you think about the derivative for luminance, right? Lumina, it means, or luminary, right? It means brighten or brightness. So luma is just means brightness, right? So we're just masking based on the brightness of a particular thing. So I'll emphasize that a little bit when I'm editing this image, the chroma and luma masking. So for example, let me just, let's say I want to only mask out the blue. So I would use a chroma mask or color mask, right? So I can increase this. So now it's only affecting the blue areas. So I can see there's a little bit of hints of blue in here, which makes sense because this is kind of shadow area. But if I want to mask by brightness, if we look at this original image, that would be a little harder because the brightness of the snow in the sky is about the same, but the brightness of these trees and forests is much darker. So I could easily mask this. So if I draw a masking line this way, and then tighten up the Luma mask, I can mask out just these areas that are darker. So that's the difference between chroma and Luma. But if I do it by chroma, it's not quite as stark, right? Because I still got some color in here and a little bit in here. But if I do it by luminance, you can see I can easily separate by light. So you have to kind of get a feel for color and lighting in an image when you start masking. And you just kind of get an eye for it eventually. All right. But yeah, sorry, John. Back to your image. Now that the optics module has loaded, let me apply the preset one more time. Okay. So I'm gonna try. I'm thinking a vertical like this. And let's do smart lighting. Maybe push the shadows. Even a black and white would be all right because there's not much color in here. And then a little bit of contrast. And then I will highlight just a touch down in here, a little tighter Luma mask. Okay. And let's just brighten that a tiny bit. Okay, and then let's do, again, sort of a Luma mask here. Tighten that up a bit. If I go right there, yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, and then let me work on the front of this. It's so small in the image. Maybe a brush would be better. Okay. I think I'll go with that. Uh, pair with. All right, so I think compositionally, this wide shot is really got the same issue I had with the original shot and this deer shot. There's just a lot of empty space here or uninteresting sort of things in here. Lights and shadows are not very interesting. So I'm going to get rid of most of it. So I cropped in to the center, but then I wanted to keep this because clearly this was the subject, this monument, whatever it is. Uh, this tree line sort of frames it a tiny bit. These crisscrossing lines. There's a little house here that I thought was interesting, so I wanted to bring a little more light onto that. But that's it. So I think I think it looks better as a vertical because there's just too much. There was just too much again, just empty space or really nothing interesting on the left and right of this part of the image, or nothing new. There's no, I guess that's a better way to put it. There's no new information on the right or left side. I pretty much captured everything you need to know just right here. So that's why I did that. Okay, so again, Serge, your image did not upload correctly, so I'm not going to be able to edit that. And the next one I have here is from Paul. So we have some ducks. Let's apply the optical corrections. Let me brighten this up and see what we have. Okay, a bunch of mallards. Little bit of reflections. So I need to find the composition in here. Maybe what's interesting is that they're all standing on ice. They all have these bright orange feet. So I wonder how I can emphasize those two things that I think are interesting. So we don't need this tree. And it needs a slight tilt to the right. I don't know if I need that duck on the right here. Maybe this. Okay, that works. All right, let me bring the exposure back to where it's supposed to be, or where it was captured, I should say. Hmm. I wonder if I can just push the orange there. About the yellows. Yeah, I like that. And let me go back to just the exposure. It's just really underexposed. And it's backlit, so it's going to be tough to really add any brightness to the ducks without making it look too unnatural. And let's see if I can just give a little push in here. Not like that. And then I'll just do some tiny adjustments on the ducks. Maybe a third of a stop. Push the highlights. Maybe pull the blacks in a bit. Okay. We'll do one more here. Okay, that's looking better. Now, let me see if I can grab. Tighten up let's do the chroma mask. Okay. All right. I'm going to call it there. So let's export that. And reset, set the reference. Compare it. Okay, so that's, again, the original image on the left, and then, my edit here on the right. So the idea was, I wanted to capture, that they're all standing on the ice, and I like the orange feet. But then the matter is, to capture that idea and then also to try to find a composition that's not so busy because there's just too many of them. And it's not at an angle that I think when you have this kind of quantity, if you were more eye level or down on the ground, right? Like eye level with the ice, then the more the better. But when you're kind of coming in at this sort of looks like 45-degree angle, this looks a little busy to me. So uh, that's why I tried to trim it down. I think this works. And then of course warming it up because I saw a little bit of color here. This is a evening shot or early morning, right? Twilight or dawn. So I just added some warmth up here in the corner. Okay. Let's see. Thank you, Paul, for sending that one. And let's see, we have one here from Jeff. Oh, we have a negative. I've never edited a color image negative before. So this will be interesting. I mean, I've done it like years ago, but I haven't done it in Photolab. But I think the idea being, I don't think they have a preset for negatives. Yeah, smartphones. Yeah, they don't have any presets for negative film. That's okay. I mean, I get the idea, right? We just need to reverse this. So there's no basic preset to apply because, well, it was taken. So you took a picture using your digital camera. All right, so let's just apply the basic optical corrections. And then what we do is you go into your tone curves here and you just reverse them. And that'll give you uh, the negative, more or less. I mean, it'd be better if it had an actual black and white preset, but let's see if we can correct the white balance. So let's assume the shirt is white. There we go. And let's just do a crop. Maybe let's do a 5x4 and then a slight tilt. And just come in a bit more. Question is, do I leave this border? Because it's a little raggedy on the right side, but then it's clean on the left. That's all right. We'll leave it like that. And the question is, do I try to do like a full-on restoration? Let's see. Maybe in the detail. We need a huge... Are we getting noise here? Yeah, that's because of the sharpening mask. So we'll try and leave the grain in. So this kid is sharp, but this girl in the back is not. So that's okay then. Let's try. Oh, what's throwing me off is this is a negative. That's why if I pull the blacks, it actually gets brighter. I need to do the opposite. It might be easier to work with just the tone curve. Let me, okay, we'll do that. A little bit of a pull here and then a push this way. And I think that's all I can do. So yeah, that's really all I can do. Uh, oops. Let's compare to the original. So clearly the original is a black and white. And if you process negatives, really all you have to do is reverse the tone curve. You know, push the blacks to white and the whites to black. And then from there, it's just editing, but you have to kind of think opposite because the underlying image is still a negative. So you have to think a little bit opposite in terms of tones, maybe even in terms of colors, but I didn't touch the color because I wanted to keep the natural film color, you know, that whatever film stock this is, I wanted to keep that untouched, other than correcting for white balance slightly, because it was the white balance could be caused by taking the picture with a digital camera. So the digital camera is going to have its own white balance. And this image was taken in daylight with film, and film is generally balanced for white balance, right? So it makes sense that I think it's fair to correct for white balance. But if I wanted to be 100% fair, I think I would just select, I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it because it's a negative. So anyhow, so you think the negative wasn't flat enough? Okay, so yeah, possibly. That makes sense. Wow, these are your kids, Jeff. Wow, good-looking kids. All right, let's go to, and I see Shokabe has a message. I've edited your picture. I did not know what to do with it, but have a look. Okay, I'll take a look and make some suggestions on how to approach it. Okay, I will. I didn't edit that picture myself because it is a little bit of a challenge, but yeah, I'll get to it. So we have one here from Dan. Let's see. Ah, this looks familiar. I've done this scene before, not necessarily this particular uh, uh, point of view, but it's very, very similar. I think the other one was during the daytime, like it didn't have so much fog. So let's try to capture the fog, capture this building. This right side is not quite as interesting, but I do like the path leading up to here. This fog is more interesting here on the left. So let me apply basic preset first. And let's try 16 by 9 and see if we can just get the path. Okay, that works. Kind of. I don't know if coming down this far makes sense. Yeah, I like that a little better. Just, I always like to watch my corners and see what's happening. Now I've cut off the steeple though. So let's come over this way. Maybe a 3x2. Okay. 3x2. Not crazy about that, but it's okay. See if I can cut in. Just trying to center this one structure here. Okay. I don't know if centering helps though. All right. It's really heavy here on the right side. I'm going to have to do something about that. And so we have red, yellow, blue. Okay. Let's stick with the color. Let's try a little bit of... Okay, that's good. Some clear view. And I don't want to mess with the fog too much, so I'm going to go with another control line. And see if we can improve the contrast here. Okay. Give it a little more light. Okay. Good. White balance, maybe tad cooler. Just a tad. Okay. And then, let's see, I've done the highlights. How about a little more pull here? A slight push. Okay. And then let's do a control point on the water. And just pull that in a bit. There we go. Okay, let me see where we're at. And I'm gonna do the whites over here. So I don't know. Let me just draw a line and then I'll use the pointer to pick a white point and a little bit tighter. Okay, good. And see if I can just Okay. That helped a little bit. See if I can do a little more. Yeah. And then let's see. Okay, I'm going to call it there. Let me export that. Then we'll reset it. And compare with the Sorry, I had to mute again. I was sneezing like crazy. All right, so here's the edited image here on the left, and here's the original on the right. So just a very slight crop to 3:2, and then bringing in, basically more contrast, brightening up the whites and pulling in the blacks, but without trying to affect the fog too much. And then watching my corners here, I always like to make sure there's something leading into a corner. It doesn't always work, but I think it works in this case. So if we do sort of a full screen look at it, there's the original, very nice image, well exposed, beautiful scene, right? And then here's the edit where I think this looks a little bit more like you would have seen with your own eyes. Because this image, it's just a little bit too soft. But this one, I think, hopefully keeps the ambiance of the scene. The softness without, uh, and then balancing the image a little bit. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Oops. I want to hear from John. Another interesting architecture scene. Ooh, is this an airport or a shopping center? Oh, it's train station. Okay. Or bus station. Or both. So, okay, so we have the entrance here. I like this. This is cut off, so we don't really need this so much. And then this huge parking lot is really interesting. And then we have this pink car. So there's a lot of individual things that are very interesting. They're just not coming together too well. So I think I'm gonna have to pick something. Let me apply, sorry, let me apply the basic optical preset and just want to see what's down here. Okay. Do a slight perspective correction. And compositionally, I don't need the roof. I don't know if I can get in here. And capture just the elements that I thought were interesting. That's a little too tight. 16 by 9. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix something here. There we go. No. Nope, nope, nope. Do I really need both doors? I hate to lose this parking structure. This is almost... Okay. This is keeping all the elements that I thought were worth keeping. I just need to... Let's see. Go to... Oh, this is a JPEG. No wonder. Because when I was brightening the shadows, I was like, something's not right. But I thought maybe it was just the way the lighting was inside the building, but it's actually because the JPEG. It's okay. What I can do is maybe go to black and white. The thing is, I like these little yellow trash cans. It sort of ties this side of the image together. Whereas with a black and white, I don't see it tying together too much. I'm gonna have to keep it color because this whole section is all tied together by these yellow highlights. So if I brighten those a bit and then do some local, do a local push in here. Like that. Maybe a little down here. Okay. And that needs a separate control point. Let's just brighten a little bit of these other areas. So that one, that one, and No, let's not do the bus. Let's do this. Hmm. Okay. Dang it. You know, with the JPEG, I'm not going to be able to do it. Because it's you know, everybody's got their headlights on, so it's a little bit of a darker scene. So I was trying to make it darker. I don't think I can get it there. Ugh. If I do this, I might have to go black and white. Let me see. Hmm. Okay, I'm going to stay color. So again, it's just, like I said, all these yellow things over here kind of tie the left side of the image together. Um, I'm trying to find the right exposure balance, though. I'm having a little bit of a hard time with that. Okay. Yeah, I'll just go with this. Do that. And maybe just a slight push of light here. And then pull the light back down. Hmm. Okay, I'm going to call it there. Uh, Whoops. So again, a lot of the same things I've been talking about this whole stream because a lot of the images in this way, they're very similar. There's just a lot of extra things here or things cut off that really would have been nice to have. It'd have been nice to have this corner in the shot, like where it ends. Then I could have done a vertical over here. I'm sorry, a vertical over here on the left side. And it'd be more of an architecture image of this structure. But since that's cut off, I can't use it. And then there's, you know, this bar railing here. I like this garage. This could have been a separate picture, but you'd have to drive down here and take a picture of it. So from where you're standing, uh, this makes sense and the way it intersects with this curve. But it was just a matter of getting the lighting right and tying the things together. So, you know, anyway, I'm just thinking out loud and brainstorming here. But this is what I ended up with over here on the right side. Uh, in terms of composition, I feel like it's a little better balanced and still includes all of the information and elements that we need. I mean, I'm kind of missing this door over here, but it doesn't make any sense because we're missing part of this anyway. So it's okay to just have this one entrance, I guess. But okay, I hope you like that. Let's see. I think Shakib said you uploaded something. Let me take a quick look. How are we doing on time? Okay, we got about 10 more minutes. Where's my? I need to open a different window. Let me go to the. So, Lavar sent some balloons, it looks like. We'll give that some thought. Okay, so I've downloaded two new images, one from Shakib and one from Lavari. Lavari sent in a Pentax image. I'll do that real quick. So let's see. Where is it? This one. Because Lavari, I think you're brand new. I haven't seen you here before, so I will endeavor to edit your image for you. Let me download the optical preset for it. K1 Mark II, FASMC is probably the SMC if you have a Mark II. I'm just guessing. So Lavari says, howdy, that's just a vocation street photo. I kind of couldn't figure out what to do. Okay, I'll see what I can do. I don't know. If you've been watching me up to this point, you can tell I'm just winging it. So we'll wait for that to upload the optical corrections. There we go. That was not bad. All right, so I'm going to apply my basic optical corrections first. And let's see. I would say I'm going to just brighten the image and see what's in there. Oh, wow, there's somebody sitting here. There's this little boy. I love this. Looking into this light. Really fascinated. Don't look at that. You go blind, but okay. Then you have this lady here. What's she doing? She's holding something like she's going to show it to, I don't know, either that or her eyes are really bad and she has to hold it really far away to see it, like me. Okay, so there's a lot of interesting elements here. Primarily all the colors, right? let me look at this again. So how can I keep all the colors here and get this? This is the most interesting part here. Is this kid? I'm just gonna. Let's see what that looks like. That's kind of there. I got some framing issues here though. Let me see what if I just forget about the little boy and just look at this. No. I love those balloons, but they're a bit cliche. This is more interesting. Maybe a slight tilt. Come in. Okay. All right. I think I got the composition I want. And then we can I want to make the brightness here the same as the background. So let's do this. And then I need a little bit of light here. Maybe just highlights. Nope. Yeah, it has to be a linear. This one's a little tough. Okay. Okay, good. All right, let's do some of these people now. Tighten up the chroma a little bit. And just a touch of light on her face. Yeah, highlight. Yeah, that looks better. Then put a little bit of light on her phone or whatever this thing is. Maybe her jewelry. Okay. And let's pull in some of the darker areas back here. Tighten up the chrome. No, let's tighten up the lumen mask. There we go. Just bring those down. That one. This kit is mildly interesting too, but we'll see. Yeah, Yeah, that works. Okay. All right, we're almost there. So what I want to do now, just work on these lamps a little bit. Specifically, I want to increase the color. Just the saturation of the colors on these balloons. And given that, I can probably cool off this one a bit. Okay. So I did saturation and vibrance to the max. Let's do a little bit of brightness, maybe push that and that. Okay, and then I like this bluish, so I'm just going to put that sort of on them and them. So I'm going to cool off pretty much everything except the little boy and the balloons. I think I'll go with that. So if we go to yeah, compare to, whoops. Come on, my computer's acting up a little bit. All right, so here's the, gosh, is that right? Felt like I should have more of a pop here. Side by side, no corrections. Yeah. So that's what I would do. Basically this crop. I wish I could have done a little more with the colors. I tried to saturate them more, but it's already pretty well saturated. I mean, the K1 Mark II, yeah, the colors are really nice on this camera. But anyhow, it's mainly the crop, right? And brightening up the little boy here, and then de-emphasizing the other things in the scene. But I think this is a much nicer image overall, compositionally speaking anyway, than this one. Because the eye is drawn right to this little boy and to the balloons. But this is more interesting. This is a little bit more, like I said, cliche. A lot of people do pictures of balloons and things. So anyhow, not that a lot of people don't do pictures of little kids like this, but it's a little more interesting. Okay, let's go to the edits. Thank you, Lavari, for sending that one. Love to see you back. Send some more images from your Pentax. I love this camera. I, I've been shopping the K1 a little bit myself. I have a K3 monochrome. So I've kind of fallen in love with Pentax a little bit. Okay, now you guys are editing my picture. So let me see. I think, let me find the original. The original should be there. That's the original. So I'll make this the reference image. Uh, and Chicane wanted some advice on how to edit this and compose this and all of that. So yeah, it's a weird image, right? It's with a fisheye lens, the 8mm fisheye on my EM1 Mark I, if I recall correctly. And what I tried to do was use this, like I said, I'm always watching my corners, right? When I do my compositions, and I could not find, with a fisheye, it's hard, right? To find corners and to get them to line up and then straight lines. So this is the exact opposite of everything I try to do when I do architectural photography. Uh, and for so I don't know how to explain this, but this is an architectural shot ultimately. And I wanted to have some fun with the fisheye. So I don't know. I struggled with this particular one. I have a bunch of other fisheye images, and maybe I'll show those towards the end. But these I struggle with these images personally. I like them, but I struggle with them in terms of composing the initial shot, the initial composition. So that's why I sent it out to you to see what you guys would do with it, because this is not a symmetrical front and center type image, that I do in architecture. It's barely a three-quarter shot. It's just a weird shot, a weird angle. But I thought there was some potential here, so that's why I sent it. So we'll start over here to the far right, and this is the first one. So let's compare. Oh, that's interesting. It feels a little weird, but that's an interesting edit from Jan. You just went, I mean, it's really a really good balance on the composition. It's just too bad it's a little stretchy over here. Uh, the wide angle distortion can't be helped unless but there is a way to fix that in post-processing. I don't, I'm not sure. I'll have to try. I haven't tried this in Photolab 8, but you can kind of compress this a little bit so it's not so stretched out compared to this. But I like that. That's an interesting composition and a good standard edit, right? Okay, this one, okay. So this one is pretty much the same composition, not much change here. A slight crop with a ton of contrast. Let me just look at this one. Okay. So, yeah, good edit. Good black and white edit. Nice high contrast. It almost feels like this was a preset. I'm curious, Paul, if you just used like a preset and then edit from there, or did you edit this completely just using, the sliders, right, on your own? Um, because this is a really good edit. Like, like you could sell this as a preset, but it almost looks like a preset. But it's a really good edit either way. Okay. And then let's go to the next one. Another one from Paul. I like this edit. Nice warm tones brought in, cool sky, good contrast. That's a really good edit, Paul. And you cropped out this right side where there was some flaring. So that was a good choice, I think. So oh, this one you're saying you increased the fisheye effect. Okay. I didn't notice that because it's so warped anyway. But yeah, I saw there was a slight crop, but if that's because you did an additional fisheye. Okay. So this one here, I like this edit actually, quite a bit. I love the way you did the tones, the color tones. That's excellent. And the overall tones. I like the warmth and contrast of the cool and the white. It's almost cinematic, right? Teal and orange, but not quite. It's not quite teal. It's more orange and blue. But I like this edit. And then this one here, this one's from Dan. So this is pretty awesome. This is similar to, I think, who is this? This was Jan's edit. This is similar to Jan. So Jan and Dan, they had a very similar idea about correcting the fisheye distortion. And I think this works really well. I like that you cut out the right side again, the flaring. This is a great edit. Um, but it's tough, I know, right? It's tough to correct for this really strong distortion. I believe DxO has a product for that. I forget what it's called. They sent it to me. I just never use it. I'll have to try and use it on something like this. But yeah, I like this edit. I like the composition. It's just a little heavy on the left side, but I like the composition overall. And this one, another one from Dan, a vertical. Okay, so this vertical fixes that balance problem that I was having. But now there's too much sky. And the processing is really heavy. And I'm just talking about for my taste, right? Let me just zoom in and see. Okay. Um, yeah, really saturated, strong colors. And compositionally, it's almost there. I would square it off, probably. I don't think I would keep, as I've been doing this whole couple of hours, I've been getting rid of all this empty space and all your images that you sent in. I would do that to this one too. But I like this part down here and I like the processing. Okay, again, that's my original image there. This one here. Okay, nice one from William. Really good. Really good black and white processing here. I like it. Not sure there's not much change from the original composition. Oh, it's a 3x2, maybe a 16x9. Yeah, that's really good. I like it. You kept an eye on your corners. At least this one, a good balance. And also seems like there's a slight tilt on the horizon as well. But yeah, very good. Very good. Nice edit, William. Nice black and white. And this one, this is from Bird. Okay, so Bird is doing a little bit like what I just saw from Paul on this one, right? Where Paul kept all the sky, but Bird, the editing is different, the processing is different, but the composition is very similar. This feels better, I think. I mean, it's a subjective choice, right? I'm not saying it's a better image. I'm just saying for me, this feels a little better, more balanced. Uh, but yeah, that's nice, and it's got this sort of vintage color toning to it, right? Kind of a 1970s film stock. So yeah, I like it. And let's see, is there any more? Nope, that was the last one. So uh, let me go to the original and see if I can because I haven't edited this picture myself yet. But right away, I can kind of see there's it needs to be tilted to the right just slightly. So I can just apply basic preset first. And it's going to automatically correct for the fisheye distortion. I guess that's okay. And if we do perspective correction, it gives us a little more. Let's do verticals only, vertical and horizontal. Let's do verticals only. And just come in and see if I can create a composition that kind of works. Don't know. So I'm back to like a little bit like what we just looked at from Bert. But yeah, Shakib, I'm struggling to give any advice on how to edit this image because it's just it's one that I struggled with personally. But sort of like what Bert did, right? We're watching the corners down here. So if we go back to mine, I'm trying to keep this corner to lead the eye into the scene. We just still have some distortion here that I need to fix. Let's see if we do this, just manually correct this. Let's see if I can. I missed yours. Oh yeah, you did. Why isn't it in here? Oh, let me see. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find it. Because I downloaded it. There's Jan, Paul, Dan, Paul, the original, William, Bert. Did it not download to the right folder? Let me take a look, Shakib. I see it here. Download. Oh, I downloaded to the wrong folder. All right, there we go. Now it should be in here. This one, right? Wow, that's pretty awesome. Oops, sorry. Nobody knows what I'm looking at. This is pretty awesome, Shakib. I don't know if I was going in that direction or not. Where's my edit that I was working on? This. I was kind of going in the same direction, but I was correcting the distortion a little more. I really like this one. I think this is my favorite one. Huh. I like how you just made all of this black and then dark over here, and then kept a really strong light here in the front. Yeah, that's really good, Shakave. I'm impressed. I would have never done that. You can see where I was going with this, right? And then if I went black and white, I probably would have went, I don't know, I would have went a little higher contrast, something like that, right? But I think what you did here is really good. Good job. All right. So I'm not even gonna try and do a better edit than that. That's pretty good. So, yeah, so you just darken the sky. That's right, you use, whatchamacallit, Darktable for your editing, right? So, I don't know if I mean, I have the same kinda a similar tool here to darken the sky, but it's not quite the same as what you've done. Yeah, I like what you did, Chikabe. Now I'm just copying it the more I edit it. Yeah, I like what you did. I would definitely go I would definitely go with a straighter lines and get rid of some of this barrel distortion like I'm doing in this shot. I like this better, this more rectilinear type look. But I think the tonal processing that you did was excellent, and everybody really did an excellent job on all of the tones. I love the color processing you guys did, and compositionally, a lot of them were really interesting, and then, a lot of variety on the like I said, the color composition, working with the colors on that image. It was pretty awesome. I really like that, but I'd have to say Shakabe was sort of the, most dramatic change or interesting change that I would have never thought of. I mean, I can kind of see where everybody else was going, with their colors and stuff. It was just, I don't want to say it's predictable, but it's definitely, uh, a direction that you can go with, right? You can go with sort of that blue and orange type look and emphasize that. Go with a little bit of a dated, vintage look, or you can go black and white, high contrast. But what Shakabe did was totally different from what I was expecting, and not a very creative approach, I think. Okay, I don't know, what do you guys think? I thought that was a very creative approach, 'cause most of us, most of the edits that I see people doing on my image and the edits that I do on your images, it's a very methodical approach and very, um systematic, right? Let's straighten the lines. Let's get rid of some distortion. Let's watch our corners, our perspective. Let's try and balance the composition. Let's start looking for lines and angles. What's the primary subject? What are the interesting things in the image? These are all skills that you can learn pretty easily, but uh, trying to get creative is a whole different level of editing. And that's something I'm trying to get to myself, right? I'm not really very creative, to be honest. I'm not a creative person. I'm not an artist, right? I'm just a guy with a camera. I love cameras, photography, taking pictures, and I'm always trying to improve the initial image capture with the composition and also the my editing, which is one of the reasons I do all of this is uh, you guys can learn from me the tools available in the editing software, but you need to take that knowledge and use it and apply your own creative and artistic approach to your images and make it your own, right? So that's partially also why I give you my image to edit, because I see things, I get to see what you guys do creatively, and it gives me ideas and inspiration and all of that. So uh yeah, Shakib says, didn't know what to do with the picture. That's interesting. So it's just a happy accident that you made the probably my favorite edit of all the ones you guys sent in today. But that's all I'm gonna do today. Yeah, Varys says, would it be fine to sometimes send you a raw to chew on and then compare after the fact to Yeah, so what you can do is this is an idea actually I had this morning, was what you can do is edit my image, of course, right? I didn't have an edit to show you that I did on my same image because I didn't edit it. I've edited similar images from that day, from that particular photo walk. But what I was thinking is I edit what you can do is send your edits of your own image in, right? Together with the raw, just like the VAR is suggesting. And then the trick is I don't want to see your edit. So what you can do is I will edit your image live. You send me the raw. And then after I'm done editing, instead of editing my image, right, you guys send in the edits of your image that you did, and then we can compare what you did to what I did. That would be kind of interesting, I think. So So, be fair, right? Don't see what I did with your image and then go and edit your image after you've seen what I did. Try to edit your image before I edit it. Come up with, your own original, because I don't want to influence your creative process, right? If you're watching me edit your image and then you edit it, that's going to influence your creative process potentially. So you need to edit your image before I do, and then I will edit your raw. And then when I'm done editing all everybody's raws, at that point you can send in your JPEGs or your edits, and then we can kind of compare. So we'll do that next week. I'll try and leave instructions in the description of the stream for next week. Exactly what I'm trying to say here. But I think that would be fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comments later after the stream when you can post comments if that sounds like a fun idea to have. Because like I said, I do these partially for improving my own skill set, uh, but also it's a lot of fun hanging out with you guys and doing some editing together. And I think it'd be even more fun if we could compare what you did and I did. All right. So you guys have a great weekend. I got a lot of things planned for this weekend. I'll be back Sunday, most likely for another normal photography live stream. And you can always support the work that I do here using my affiliate links to buy stuff on Amazon or make a donation, become a member. Either way, I really appreciate you sending your images in to edit and share with everyone. Thanks so much for coming in and watching, and I'll see you again soon.